great to be here with you in the birthplace of the wine Fondillón in Bodegas Monóvar. So thank you for inviting us today.
Muchas gracias, sois muy bienvenidos y me encanta poder compartir con vosotros en un lugar tan interesante donde guardamos los mejores vinos, los fondillones, que siempre se ha dicho que eran vinos de reyes.
So what would you like to express here about where we are? I mean, Sacristía, you just mentioned Sacristía. How is this?
Sí, la sacristía es la pequeña bodega dentro de la gran bodega donde se guarda lo más importante. Hay una analogía con la iglesia. Pero en el mundo del vino, la sacristía es el lugar donde el comprador y el vendedor se daban la mano y le daban un carácter sagrado a ese compromiso. Por eso se llama sacristía.
That's interesting.
Interesting.
Right, Simon, so you've been here in Spain already more than 20 years?
Yep, I moved over in 2001, so I'm Spanglish through and through now, really.
Yeah. And what do you think about this experience in your life? Because, I mean, coming from UK, London, and coming to Alicante and staying, because a lot of people do not stay, they just fly back. And it's very interesting for us to learn from you your feelings about that experience.
I mean, when I originally came, I came on holiday. And I fell in love with the place. I had nothing to go back to apart from my family, so I thought, well, let's hang around a bit longer and see what happens.
Yeah.
And for me now, I feel as this is my home. Alicante is my home. I love the culture, I love the people, I love everything about Spain, the food, the wine, and I've made my life here. My family and my friends are now here, and my career has been here for over 20 years.
And so at this time you are very integrated.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Spanish, because your background comes from math and computer.
Yeah. I trained as a teacher many years ago, and then I went into industry. So I spent in the late 90s, early 2000s. I was in the .com when everyone was setting up businesses and collapsing businesses everywhere. So I went back into IT. Thought I was going to make my money, but realised actually that my passion was teaching. So when I came over here in 2001. The British School of Alicante had just been set up. It was a very small school with 100 kids. And they asked me if I'd go and be a maths and computing teacher for them. And that really is where it started. Wow. So what was a holiday turned into a fantastic career for me and a life that I never anticipated. Yeah. So my move to Spain was very natural. It wasn't anything planned.
Yeah. And actually, obviously, you've been to the UK. You now know a lot of international students and a lot of people. What about that journey? Because I know it's a yearly learning process.
Yeah.
With so many, because in Alicante we have a lot of nationalities as well.
I think Alicante's changed a lot. You guys have lived here as well. Alicante's changed a lot in the last 20 years. I think it was very Spanish initially when I first moved over here, and it's become much more international. And we've seen that in school as well with the cohorts of children changing, where we would have been 90% Spanish 20 years ago. We're now around 50% Spanish. So the place has changed, and I think Alicante is a lot more cosmopolitan than it was all those years ago. But it hasn't lost its Spanish charm, and I think that's really nice. When you go into the centre of town in Alicante, it still feels as though you're in Spain. And you can still have those experiences, those authentic experiences in Alicante.
So you've learned about many experiences of people that when they come to Spain, obviously they have had good experience and also bad experience sometimes. What would you recommend? What would you recommend to someone who wants to land into Spain and live and stay here?
I think the most important thing I've learned over the years is embrace the culture, get involved. I think the people that come and don't try the Spanish food and don't try and interact with the locals and don't try to learn the language are the ones that struggle. Ultimately, you're in a country, and I think if you're going to really experience that country, you should embrace everything about it. So I think for me, the people that I see, the people that I'm friends with, are those that have really loved Spain and really embrace everything that Spain has to offer. I think if you don't integrate into the local society, then it makes it very difficult to make a life over here.
And what about education? Have you seen, well, I'm sure in 20 years you've seen a lot of things, but how do you see the education moving forward in this international world?
In our school, we've grown rapidly. So we're now 1,300 children. And I think what we've done is try to make sure that we have an international slant to the education we offer. So we were fairly traditional, I suppose, 20 years ago. And we've now got that critical mass where we're able to offer more than just the British National Curriculum and GCSEs. We decided to launch the IB, the International Baccalaureate, about 3 years ago, which has been really successful. And now we're just opening a dual pathway through our sixth form, so children can come here and choose whether they want an international path or they want the more traditional UK route. So I think education has changed, and we've tried to make sure that we're at the front of that and that we are really preparing our kids for a life in a very interconnected international world nowadays.
Well, let's try some wine, shall we?
Sounds good.
Where is the wine here, yeah? You tell us a little bit about the wine that we're going to love.
Okay.
Why is it called the Wine of Kings?
Okay. Fondillón es el vino más antiguo, más importante y que más trascendencia ha tenido en el mundo, porque era un vino muy caro que solo lo podían tomar los poderosos. Entonces, los reyes, los aristócratas y el clero podían tomar Fondillón. Afortunadamente, hoy en día, gracias yo creo que al trabajo que hemos hecho, podemos hacer que el Fondillón sea popular y lo pueda tomar cualquier persona que pueda gastarse un poco de dinero. Okay. ¿Y cómo se hizo famoso el Fondillón? Pues fue gracias precisamente al comercio inglés, a los ingleses, porque cogieron el Fondillón, el Jerez, el Oporto y el Madeira y lo transportaron por todo el mundo, porque eran vinos que no se estropeaban. Cuando iban a Australia, cuando iban a América, cuando iban a las Indias, llegaban perfectos, llegaban incluso más buenos, porque en el trayecto se hacían un poco más viejos y eso en aquella época gustaba mucho. Así que el Fondillón fue adquiriendo categoría, y durante el siglo XVII, XVIII y el XIX fueron unos siglos de gran expansión, y por eso en la literatura inglesa, también en la francesa, un poco en la española, pero donde más referencias literarias hay al Fondillón es precisamente en los grandes autores ingleses, que se refieren al Fondillón como algo excelente. Me estoy acordando, por ejemplo, de una obra de Shakespeare, Las alegres comadres de Windsor, donde Shakespeare se hace una broma y donde tenía que poner elegant, pone Alicante.
Ah, sí.
¿Sabes? Y usa el Alicante, que es el vino Fondillón, como para esas bromas que él hacía, irónicas. Es decir, que fue realmente Inglaterra quien más proyección le dio al Fondillón en el mundo. Y hoy tenemos la fortuna de tomar nosotros ahora este vino, que era el que tomaba el rey Jorge o el rey Jacobo de Escocia, que aparecen en sus textos como grandes amantes y consumidores de vino de Alicante.
And what about the path that the bodega Monóvar went through, la trayectoria? Could you tell us a little bit more about la trayectoria de la bodega, the way of this bodega?
Bodegas Monóvar, Isa, es un magnífico ejemplo de unir las fuerzas, ¿no? Lo que hacéis vosotros, unir fuerzas, unir proyectos, unir iniciativas. Y en 2016 mi familia, los Poveda y la familia de Luis Miñano, pues hicimos una unión, una fusión, para, sobre todo, por la idea innovadora de gran empresario que tenía Luis, que era llevar el Fondillón a los mejores restaurantes del mundo y a todos los restaurantes que tuvieran estrellas Michelin en el mundo, que hubiera Fondillón de esta bodega.
So we need to try then.
I'm looking forward to it.
Shall we try?
Vamos a probarlo.
Vamos.
¿Y desde qué año tenéis aquí Fondillón?
Tenemos Fondillón desde 1930.
Wow.
Este, por ejemplo, es un fondillón que tiene ahora, aunque ponga 50 años, tiene 60, porque ya se embotelló hace 10. Entonces, este es un top, un premium sería en inglés, ¿no? ¿Veis? Y hemos vuelto al wax, al lacre. Me gusta mucho porque hace 200 años se utilizó esto.
Yeah. It's got a very traditional look.
Y ahora hemos vuelto a utilizarlo, ¿no? Tanto que se puede... Esto ya lo apartamos de aquí para que se vea la botella. Y voy a servir el fondillón y os voy a contar la historia de la botella, que es muy bonita también.
Do you have to leave it to breathe, or like you would a good red wine, or?
Really, cuando el fondillón nace, es un vino tinto, rojo, azul, muy oscuro. Parece compota de ciruela negra.
Sí.
Es un producto muy, muy diferente a lo que estamos viendo ahora. Después de 20, 30, 40, 50, 70 años, el vino dentro de los toneles ocurre una metamorfosis. Ese producto oscuro, frutoso, tánico, nuevo, joven, se convierte en un vino viejo, old wine, aromático que recuerda a las uvas pasas, a los dátiles maduros, al pan de higo, a las frutas confitadas, a los frutos secos tostados, una avellana o una almendra tostada. Incluso hay personas que tienen una hipersensibilidad y encuentran en el fondillón aromas y sabores muy inéditos. Por ejemplo, a veces recuerda el incienso. Cuando hemos ido a un acto religioso que había incienso, pues a veces tiene ese aroma. Pero fijaros, es como el gusano y la mariposa. Es una metamorfosis total. Así que vamos a brindar por el futuro.
Sí.
Muy bien.
Salud.
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 Wow. Very nice.
Fantastic.
It's delicious.
Simon, do you like Fondillon?
It's delicious. Yeah, I mean,
Tasting.
it's not like anything I've had before. It's between a port and a sherry or something. No, it's in the middle, I think.
But you try these in Spain, different types of Fondillon? Yeah.
I've well, I try. I mean, I love fortified wines. I love wine of all description, and what I really like are the stories. Excuse me, as he was just saying, that I think that's what has endeared Spain to me, is these traditions, this culture that really has sadly been lost in the UK. You don't have those sorts of things anymore, and it's great. The story of having a little barrel in the house and being able to take a bit and give it to the priest is great. But no, I love the Fondillon. I'm a big port drinker, and it's a very similar idea. Yeah, it's delicious.
And so, with the Fondillon, you've said that this is matched very well, but normally could be drunk with different food, with any other Spanish food. What is the tradition, or what is right now the link with Fondillon and some food?
Great tradition, la gran tradición del fondillón fue el turrón blando de Gijona. Era lo que en Navidad, el día 24 y el día 25, se tomaba de postre. Después de los platos importantes de esos días, se tomaba fondillón y turrón. Pero, ¿qué pasa? Que era dulce con dulce. Aunque el vino no es muy dulce, es medium dry, era demasiado dulce. Y es verdad que en las últimas décadas las cosas dulces hemos ido un poco apartándolas por cuestiones de salud, ¿no?
Sí.
Por eso ha triunfado el Fondillón como vino de aperitivo con cosas saladas. Porque, digamos, entre comillas, que era un poco más saludable. Es verdad que el Fondillón siempre se bebe muy poco, muy poca cantidad. No es un vino normal que bebamos copa y copa, sino una copa así te dura un tiempo. Y luego también quiero introducir algo para los futuros personas que tomen Fondillón. Es un vino también de media tarde a solas, un vino de reflexión. Estás en casa, invierno, el fuego está encendido, tu perro duerme plácidamente delante del hogar.
I wish.
Tú estás con un buen libro,
Sí.
si te gusta fumar, un buen habano, tienes café, escuchas buena música o estás con un amigo y estás tomando Fondillón lentamente toda la tarde, reflexionando sobre la vida y sobre el amor.
I love that.
It's very romantic.
I really like it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Vamos a probarlo ahora con queso. Hemos probado la mojama, la hueva y ahora probamos el queso. Si quiere.
Thank you.
Simon.
So Simon, coming back to the education from Wine of Kings to King's College, what do you think is the evolution right now about education for children regarding, right now is about values, about principles, about teaching?
I think it's a very difficult age for children to be growing up in. I think there's a lot of pressures on people now and on young people that we never experienced. The internet and things like that bring a whole host of problems. But I also think the world's changed, particularly since COVID. There's a real need for children to learn more than just maths and English and science and all those other things, but to have a real holistic education where we work with families and with youngsters to make them realize the things that are important in life. So what we try to do is also add that extra dimension to our education. So we are looking at growing the whole child and not just the academic side of kids. So making sure that they're well-rounded individuals, that they're ready for the world in terms of leadership and resilience and all that sort of thing. In our curriculum, we add things in. We have a very strong focus on sports. We have a strong focus on arts. We do, every child from year 7 to 9 does public speaking, etc., etc. So what we're trying to do is make sure that kids don't just get certificates to say that they can do things, but that they're ready for the world.
They will be prepared for the world.
Prepared, because I think it's really hard nowadays. And the universities and employers are all telling us that they want skills. They don't necessarily need the knowledge that we used to have, but they need good skills. And people are unfortunately coming out of schools and universities without those social skills, without the critical thinking, without the ability to communicate properly, which is something that we really focus on at King's to give that holistic education to a child.
So it is education is a little bit like the wine. It's slowly, isn't it? Everything takes time.
It's really
Similar.
Yeah, and we find that pupils that we've had in school from nursery, for example, so at the moment we have children from age 2 to age 18, and we have many kids that have joined us at 2. And you can see the difference in their outlook, in their ways, and everything to the children that may only join us in year 12.
Right, yeah.
Because, they've learnt the King's way, they've learnt... I still think of us as a large family. We've grown from 80 kids to 100 kids, to 1,300 kids. But we still have a real family feel at school, and I think you can see the product of that in the children that have been with us for some years. So
Actually, it's more you have been so long here already. And you can see so much the difference, It's a challenge every year. You can see children from very little and how they turn out with all the effort from all you, because there's a lot of effort every day.
Yeah, and that's the beauty. I mean, that's why I love my job.
Yeah.
I think it's the best job in the world, and to be able to see a child, from age 2 or 3, who is grabbing hold of you and wanting a hug, to someone at 18, and see that you've had an impact, and as a school we've had an impact on those children. And working with families, we have a lot of families who've been part of our community for years, and that's really lovely. It is really a community, and trying to pull everyone together, and I think that makes a big difference to a school. Yeah.
I think education has a lot of impact on all of us, We all remember our teachers, and good times.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what they told us and what we learned. So I think it's very important, even though days go very fast, and you have so many children already through all you. But I think it's very, very rewarding, isn't
It's brilliant. And, you know, I still have former pupils coming back to see me, to tell me how they're getting on. We've actually, over the last 10 years probably, we've welcomed back the kids of former children, which has been great. So we've got children in the school now who are the children of people I taught when I first joined in the school, which is fantastic.
Yeah, wow.
We've got teachers that I've employed who I taught.
Wow.
So that's really nice when it goes full circle. And that really makes, I think, us quite a special place,
Yeah, it makes a community, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, it really does.
Y ahora, ¿cómo se puede conjugar el tema de los móviles con los chicos que estudian? Eso es un problema, ¿verdad?
It's hard.
It's a
It's
challenge.
hard. It's always on. I mean, the Valencian community have helped us. We always had a rule in school that mobile phones weren't allowed. But then the Valencian community made that law last year. So children aren't allowed to have phones in school. But I don't think it's just kids. I think, you know, that I write to parents every week. We have a weekly newsletter. And I talk about the responsibility we have as adults, modelling that. Because actually we're worse than the kids, I think. And, you know, if you look around, I'm sure we're constantly stuck on our phones. We're constantly using our phones. And I think it's having time in the day where you're consciously putting that phone down and spending time with people you love or people you care about and trying to do that as a family. I think that's really important. It's not just about school. I mean, a lot of this education, this holistic stuff has to be hand in hand with families and with parents.
Actually, here is beautiful because beautiful scenery, beautiful, nice wine, and no telephones.
No telephones,
no
peace and quiet.
In peace and quiet. So, yeah, it's hard for us. But technologies, Simon, have a big impact for good, but it's a challenge for children. We never had that when we were young.
No.
But for you guys, you as teachers and educators, it's hard, isn't it?
It is hard, but I think the important thing is not to fight it. You know, ultimately, it is what it is.
To adapt in some
you have
way
to
in order
adapt.
to...
Yeah.
When we were kids, we didn't have Google. You know, we went to the library, used encyclopedias. And I remember when Google came out, and I was here in Alicante, people saying, oh, what are we going to do? Kids are going to cheat, they're going to use the internet. Yeah. Well, no, we just have to teach them how to use it properly.
That's right.
And it's now the same with artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. You know, every year there's something new that you have to tackle. And I think it's important you embrace that. You teach your pupils not just to be good pupils, but to be good citizens, online citizens. Yeah. You know, this whole giving them those values so they know how to behave online is really important.
I like what you said about the skills. I mean, to prepare them with the skills, necessary skills for the future, because that will be really the big challenge for education, really.
Absolutely.
To adapt whatever happens in order to have an attitude on whatever happens in the world, in order to be able to adapt to any situation. Yeah?
And it's important. And you have to, with kids, certainly children of your children's age, you know, 12, 13, 14, the jobs they're going to be applying for don't exist as we know them yet. Yeah. So it's important that they have skills that are transferable. Most importantly, I think the things that university is looking for are problem-solving skills, critical thinking, to be able to analyse things, to be able to ask questions. Because we can find information. The information is all over the place on the internet. So
actually, when we normally hire people, hire lawyers, the attitude, the values, Simon, there is certain things when we just see curriculums. It's not only the grades. You know, the grades, you could be a great...
We don't see any more grades, really. I mean, obviously some minimum, but we check some other issues.
I agree.
Yeah,
it's more important to have a fit, isn't it? It's that fit for your organisation.
And it's so important. I mean, it's so powerful what you are doing, because that's what companies are going to look after. And then when you start searching for people, who's going to be the right one to run this business? Because business change every year is a different thing. And but the attitude is so important. Yeah. Obviously, public speaking, what you guys, the arts, sports. I know you're very focused on these as well, but I think that has a lot of potential on our side, on companies.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's about balance, isn't it? Yeah. I think this day and age, especially with technology, you can be working and online the whole time. And we try to teach kids and youngsters that you need balance in your life. And that's why we put as much emphasis on sports and on arts as we do on academics. Ultimately, also, we have to, you know, every child is different. And we're very conscious of that. And one thing I'm always talking to the teachers about in school is that we have an obligation to provide the best opportunities for everybody based on their skill sets. So one kid might be great at maths, Another one might be fantastic at,
That's right.
at art. Another one might be a great footballer. So you have to give children the opportunity to excel in whatever area they can, and we're not just an exams machine. So we're not here just to get people A levels and IB and GCSE. That's important, but you need to develop that whole child.
Simon, ¿y tú crees que el clima influye en la formación de los chicos?
I think it does, yeah, actually. I mean, the funny thing was, I never forget when I first moved to Alicante in my first year, and I was teaching, I can't remember what year group it was. It was a young, probably year 8, so 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds. And it rained. And everyone stopped and ran to the window. And they couldn't believe it was raining. And it was this big event because it was raining in Alicante. It was very unusual. But I think in England they always used to say when it was windy, which is often, the kids are mad, they go nuts. And I do think the climate affects people, because it does have a positive impact. The sun shining, the fact it's warm does help, and it does keep everyone in a very positive frame of mind. So I think it does. I think it definitely does. We've noticed it.
Yeah. Happy children, yeah.
Happy children, yeah, absolutely. That's the main thing, isn't it? Yeah. That is the most important thing.
So Simon, I think Christmas. Let's focus on Christmas. How do you normally celebrate Christmas? Now in Spain, or probably back in the UK for us to learn?
Yeah, I tend to in Spain. I tend to have people come to me. So most people, when you move to Spain, I think most people want to visit you because it's warmer. And Christmas is certainly generally I think in Alicante is a very nice time of year. Yeah. It can be very warm during the days, it might be chilly at night, but you get, it's a nice climate. So I tend to follow both. My partner is Spanish, so we do a bit of everything. It's all a mix. So we celebrate Christmas Eve. I just eat a lot of food basically and drink a lot of wine over Christmas. So we celebrate Christmas Eve as you would do in Spain. If my family are here, so this year my parents and my sister are coming, so that would be lovely, and we'll have a proper traditional British Christmas dinner on Christmas Day. We'll have Boxing Day as you do in England as well, where we eat the leftovers. But then we also, I love the fact that Spain makes a big deal of Christmas, not just those 2 days. Because I think in England, there's this whole hype and there's warm up to Christmas and it's done, over.
It's done, yeah, it's too fast.
It goes really quickly. So it's nice to be able to have Three Kings and everything else all the way into January. So we follow all the traditions, and the kids in the family now in Spain are all grown up. So Three Kings doesn't have quite the same magic as it would have done 10 years ago. But I love the Spanish tradition around Christmas. I think the whole family-oriented part of Spain is really nice.
Yeah, because actually you're true that in Europe, I think by the end of the 31st, pretty much is done.
Yeah.
Christmas is done. But here is not enough. I mean, we need more time. And until the 7th, until we start school back again to
on
school.
the 7th, and then it's hard because you've had such a lovely holiday.
Yeah.
But again, it's the traditions that you don't have in England, which you would have here, the parades and the Belen and all that sort of thing, which is unusual in the UK now. So the culture here is lovely, and it's a really nice way of really becoming part of the Spanish psyche, getting involved in all those things.
¿Y vosotros aquí en la bodega?
Pues es la época del año que más actividad hay. No de hacer el vino, pero es cuando viene todo el mundo a por vino, sobre todo Fondillón y otros vinos, para celebrar la Navidad. Sí. O sea, si hay algo inherente a celebrar la Navidad es el vino, sobre todo en nuestra tierra, en nuestra cultura. Entonces en Navidad viene mucha gente que solo viene una vez al año y hacemos un quid pro quo. Entonces viene un amigo que tiene moscatel y te trae una caja de moscatel y tú le das unas botellas de vino. Viene otro que hace embutido y te trae embutido y tú le das vino. Y traen naranjas, traen turrón. Y es una cosa maravillosa porque es un quid pro quo, es cambiar las cosas. Y es muy bonito lo que habéis explicado de el día 8 de diciembre ya ponemos el Belén.
Sí.
Y entonces, cuando yo era pequeño, cada día cogíamos las figuras de los reyes y las acercábamos un centímetro. Y bueno, cada día, hasta llegar al portal.
Yeah.
Sí, sí.
Actually, it's so fun. For children, is great. Even my son has a watch that is saying how many days left to come here, Santa Claus.
Really?
Yeah. he said, Daddy, it's only 30 days now left to go and have, yeah, he's so excited about it. And the Three Wines King is the same. We love parades and...
So do you celebrate both at home now?
We do both because...
Me too, I mean both. I mean, Three Kings for sure, obviously is the big one, but obviously, in order not to be empty, just to get something, obviously, in with Santa Claus.
Yeah.
But good, we just spoke about the Belén. It's also very good when you, with the children, obviously, when I was a child and now with my children, when you do it, you prepare it, you buy, I mean, everything in order to do, sometimes you stay probably one day from the beginning when you start with this. And it's amazing, it's really the experience to do it with family.
Yeah. It's when Christmas starts, isn't it?
It's really good.
Yeah,
really good.
That's lovely.
Actually, you'll be surprised, but in my house, everybody's done it already.
Really?
So we have just a Porsche already with the two balenes, and the children enjoy the tree already. Uh-huh. Yeah, because they are so excited and they love it so much they want it soon.
As soon as the better.
Isn't it better? Yeah.
I'm miserable at school. I won't let them put the tree up until at least 10 days before we. Yeah, otherwise the kids are very distracted and it's just all Christmas stuff. But we do have Father Christmas visiting this year. So in early years, for the younger ones, we're going to have a big celebration with Father Christmas and everyone getting presents from pre-nursery up to year 2, so that'll be lovely.
Right.
The kids, I think, will enjoy that.
Yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun, and they love it. So let's make a wish, yeah? There's a wish for 2025. What do you, Simon? What will you expect for 2025? Let's make a wish.
Wow. Well, my wish always is for health. I think as you get a bit older, and I think on a broader scale, let's hope that the world's a nicer place in 2025, because I think 2024 has been a pretty horrendous year globally for lots of things. So health and a bit, it sounds very cheesy, a very Miss World, but health and world peace, really.
Well, it's the same for me. I mean, it's salud, health. I mean, it doesn't sound very chilly. I mean, it's like really it's what we like. And when somebody is not in a good health, that probably many of us has been in some times, so you think about, how good you are when you are really good, when you are with good health is probably the big asset what we have.
I agree.
So health for everyone.
And I think when you're young, you take that for granted. And you need, it comes back to haunt you a little bit when you get older.
Y Salvador, ¿y tú un deseo para el 2025?
Pues los tópicos. Salud.
Sí.
Es muy importante ya. El tiempo avanza y empezamos a tener pequeños señales de que uno va adquiriendo años. Sí. Salud. Luego también que haya estabilidad y paz.
Sí.
Porque si no, no podemos desarrollar nuestras actividades. Sí. Cuando hay guerras y hay crisis, pues eso afecta mucho a la educación, afecta al desarrollo profesional de la abogacía y de las industrias, ¿no? Y entonces, yo lo único que deseo es volver a ese mundo, sobre todo de Europa y Estados Unidos, donde había estabilidad y podíamos desarrollar nuestras actividades sin estar pendientes de cosas terceras. Y ahora parecía que ya habíamos, que la historia estaba escrita, como el autor japonés, ¿no? Estamos ahora otra vez en una gran crisis.
I think I will really expect for all of us to be better people, and this is a lot of jobs you guys do, education, and try to be nice people, nice citizens in the world. Actually, with all these disaster we had in Valencia, you could see a lot of nice people helping each other for nothing. You know, if we were all of us in the same thoughts, the same position, nice people who will survive. I think we need more, and a lot of that is thanks to the good education, Simon. So I think health is necessary.
Health is important.
But living together is key.
A bit of empathy.
Empathy
is really important. Yeah, I agree.
So, so let's cheers,
Salud.
Salud.
Por el futuro.
Yeah.
Cheers.